The horror genre isn't really my thing. Unless it has a really great story, I'm usually the killjoy of horror movies. I actually started to watch the Final Destination franchise, 1 through 5, but thought, nah, I'm only seeing the first one and maybe the second. It's been a while, and I don't really remember too much about them. So when I went to see this movie, I was kind of surprised. But did it change my mind about the whole horror genre and this franchise? Final Destination Bloodlines is the 6th movie in this franchise, coming back after 14 years. Directed by superfans of the series, Zach Lipovsky and Adam B. Stein, you can tell that they really love this series. And you can tell based on the work here. The film stars Kaitlyn Santa Juana as Stephanie Reyes, a college student who comes home to see her family trying to escape her reoccurring nightmares of her grandma dying in this horrible accident at the Skyview Tower in the 1960s. She comes home to ask her dad and her uncle about her grandma, and then they have a very hush-hush, don't ask questions, obviously hiding something that would help her understand why she's having these dreams. She searches for clues that lead her to her grandma, and then the truth behind not only her dreams, but the reason why death is coming for her and her family. The first scene in this film from the start had me hooked and locked into a movie that I was really actually dreading to see. After Clown in a Cornfield and Until Dawn, I'm so exhausted watching teens and college kids running around making stupid decisions that lead to their ultimate death. It's always the same story packaged up in a different way. You could say that this film does the same thing, but the writers change a few things that give it a more fresh perspective. The first scene starts in the 1960s, and again, I love this scene. A young Iris, played by Brec Bassinger, and her boyfriend are off to the Skyview restaurant for a date that doesn't go really well. As soon as they are crammed into the maxed out capacity of the elevator with a glass floor, at that point you're just waiting for the inevitable. The movie keeps you in suspense, wondering when and where the chaos will finally start. Brilliantly using the sound design of the creaking tower, the wind gusts, and cracking of glass floors, every little event leads to another event that leads to the chaos and demise of everyone in the tower. It's a great scene that keeps you on the edge of your seat pretty much the whole time and is full of anxiety. The CGI of the city outside looks incredibly fake, but I tried to overlook those things pretty much because I was enjoying this opening scene so much. And the CGI is brutal, and I don't mean in a good way that horror fans of practical effects would enjoy. It's pretty obvious. It's campy and over the top and incredibly fake looking. Why do they use fake CGI blood when they can just create it and make it look so much more real? The CGI is the worst thing about this film. They go over the top with some of the effects, and I'm sure that's common for the franchise, but every special effect looked incredibly fake. The only practical effects that worked was a tongue piercing and a tattoo. That's it. The film does, again, a great job of keeping you in suspense. There are a lot of misdirections that keep you on your toes, wondering, is this going to be the way this person dies? The chain of events that lead to each death is really fun to watch and is shot incredibly well. There are a lot of tight macro shots of glass and ice transitioning to the glass being filled with water, a very unlucky penny that goes from a fountain to the top of the tower and finds its way back down to the fountain after an insane amount of chaos. I really enjoy the camera work and editing for all of the shots leading up to the insane catastrophes. It's really what makes this type of movie so much fun to watch. You can tell that the directors are huge fanboys of the franchise, throwing in little Easter eggs like the Heist Pale Ale beer that was created for the first 2 films. The book on how to cheat death has an airplane sketch from the first film and the logging truck from the second film. Was it the second film? I can't remember. The whole movie is sort of a prequel/sequel that ties everything together, which I really loved. The late Tony Todd reprises his role as William Bloodworth, another connection to the other films, and you can tell that he was very sick during this film, but he gives his very sweet, sentimental goodbye to this franchise and to his fans that was unexpected. And if you're a fan of this franchise or Candyman or even the Indiana Jones game that came out this year that he was in, you may get a little teary-eyed. It got to me. Some of my complaints about this film are the usual horror movie gripes that I usually have. The cheap-looking CGI, not enough character development in the story to get me to really care about these characters. The story was a little weak, but honestly, for how much I enjoyed the film, these were kind of easy to overlook. There is a sort of slow period after the chaos in the beginning to drag out some exposition, but I didn't mind it too much. I kind of needed that exposition. Stephanie finds her grandma living in a compound that she built herself that seemed a little too similar to the most recent Halloween films, where Jamie Lee Curtis is essentially safe-proofing herself from Michael Myers. The grandma in the same way is safe-proofing herself from death. It was interesting to see her talk to death as a person in the film, giving the movie the ultimate bad guy, death.
J7.
You have sunk my battleship.
Excellent!
Best 2 out of 3.
What?
It's nice when the film doesn't take itself too seriously and has a few funny moments that lighten the scenes, like a peanut butter cup scene that I thought was pretty funny, because there is a setup for a line that you know is coming. And if it didn't come, you'd feel cheated. But it's there and oh so satisfying when it's said. The choice of songs thrown into the film are great, like Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash and Stronger by Kelly Clarkson, which was pretty funny. And you have to have the song Shout from the 60s if you're going to dance on a glass floor hundreds of feet in the air. Or was it the 50s that came out? I can't remember.
Now wait a minute.
The film has a couple of plot twists which are really fun. One not so obvious, and the other completely obvious, but still so fun to watch and see the story kind of play itself out the way that it does. The structure of the film is very well done. There's the obvious 3-act structure that gives the film the flow it needs, especially in the slower parts of the film. The film flows really well. The death scenes in this film are insanely brutal, but the one thing that I noticed that I really enjoyed was how the movie plays this sort of cat and mouse game with you. It taunts you with these chain of events that could or could not end in someone else's demise. Sometimes an event doesn't end in death, and that was an interesting choice that made the characters seem like maybe they have a chance to get out of the situation. I also really appreciated that the film went the family route. Horror films are so overdone with a group of teenagers or college kids who are all friends who, one by one, get picked off. And there are usually at least 5 to 7 friends because you have to have at least that many people off in a movie like this. All the 20-year-olds were either a brother, a sister, a cousin. Even though the formula was the same, the family dynamic made the film feel a little fresher. There are parts of the story that didn't seem very thought out that I can't really go into without spoiling the film. One being, and I won't go into too much detail, but there is a very confusing thread through the film with a penny that I just can't make the connection to what this penny actually meant. It's in the beginning of the film and at the end, and it makes it seem like it's the cause of everything that's happened, but that wouldn't make any sense. If anyone out there knows, please let me know in the comments. Also, in all of these films, there's also one person who gets a premonition of the events to come, and they end up cheating death, right? So we've established in this film that death, I guess, is an entity, but who's giving out these dreams of the future? There's so many questions in this film, and you really can't ask them. Final Destination Bloodlines is a great end or reboot to the franchise. Now that I think about it, this may be a reboot. But this 6th film in the franchise was a lot of fun, and even though I was dreading seeing this one, I thought it was great for what it was. And now I kind of want to go back and watch the other 5. There's a few plot twists and lots of casualties to keep horror fanatics happy, I think. The sound design is spectacular and so well done, adding to the dramatic suspense of the film. The beginning of the film is insane and probably my favorite sequence of the film. And if anything, fans get to say goodbye to a beloved character in the franchise. All in all, this movie is a lot of fun and definitely worth the price of a ticket. I'm giving Final Destination Bloodlines 3.5 stars out of 5 because even though it has a lot of flaws, it redeems itself in the original way that it tells the story of the whole franchise. And it's just a lot of fun. It is rated R, a very strong R, for language, suspense, and a whole lot of gory death scenes, obviously. If you've seen Bloodline, let me know what you thought of this film. What's your favorite film out of the 6 and why? Thank you to all who have subscribed to the channel. I can't do this channel without you. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this review, and remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.